Hey everyone, Phable here, and I know it has been a very long time, but today we are going to do finally another episode of Frequency Talk. You can all join the chat, you can join our discussion, and the topic that I have for today is Superbooth 2022. And with me to discuss all these issues and what the exciting products are this year is none other than Felix Klostermann. Hey Felix, how are you?
Hello, I'm good, thank you.
Felix, let us, before we start, talk a little bit about your work and why I have invited you. Actually, you are one of the review guys, let's put it this way, for a very big German company. Is that right? Tell us a little
That's
bit more
right.
about this.
Yes, I'm also the editor for Bonedo. We are like the biggest German-speaking music magazine about music production. Um, Most of the part is about guitars and drums, and there's also a producing section which I'm basically running, and yeah, doing a lot of reviews myself about mixing, software, plugins, hardware, compressors, especially drum machines. That's what I'm doing. Also a mix engineer, but actually I'm not mixing a lot at the moment because I have so much to do with Bonedo.
And we got to know each other because we are both working in industry. So, for people that might know that I work for RME, and I think you contacted me for some interfaces, and then we got to know each other, and we found out that we actually are from, let's put it this way, from the same cloth. We are both,
Brother from another mother.
yeah, we're both crazy about gear. We're both crazy about technology and the music industry as a whole. And so we thought, why not talk about this? So, for the English speakers, how would you describe Bonedo? I mean, this is like the German Sonic State is YouTube solely, but it's like the German version of Sound on Sound, right?
Yes, yeah, I would compare it the same way. But our website looks a little bit more flashier, I would say. So I know we are fully online. It's completely free, so there's no print magazine out there. We're kind of linked to Thomann. So basically, Thomann has founded our magazine, but we are totally independent. And yeah, we talked about this at the Superbooth.
Exactly. That's what I wanted to talk about now. So when you told me about Thomann, and of course Thomann is a big player in the industry, and everyone is talking about Thomann controlling the market a little bit, which is I think just utter nonsense to some degree because there's not this monolithic this is not this monolithic industry. But you told me something quite interesting when we talked about this. So Thomann actually gives you quite a lot of freedom. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. So basically, there's no control of them, of our work, what we do, what kind of reviews we do. Um, yeah, sure, there's a little focus, on stuff that Thomann sells, but we're also doing like a lot of reviews about stuff that Thomann doesn't sell.
Oh,
Um,
interesting.
some, yeah, sometimes even Thomann comes back to us, and stock stuff we did a review about we find good. So basically, it's the other way around, and uh, no, they never. I never got problems with them, or that they like said like yeah like we also do like Harley Benton reviews and stuff about this, and we never lied about stuff or said like oh this is especially good because Thomann says it, or it's like the house marker, how you call it.
Yeah,
So
it's the
no,
in-house brand, and yeah,
yeah, there's no conflict about this. Sorry, I'm back. Yeah, I got a
yeah.
call. So yeah, and some people mix it up. So no, that's absolutely not true. And a very interesting thought about this. Because Thomann basically is selling everything. So when we say this interface or that mic sucks, Thomann still sells the other microphones people buy instead. So there's no bias about this. And yeah, so they have been clever, they have been very clever at the beginning, because the main thought about the magazine was like, if we don't support people doing music, in 10-15 years, nobody's buying music stuff. So that's their main goal behind our website. And why pumping, like the money into magazines, nobody's reading anymore, So yes, we're totally independent. And, if you know my reviews, I definitely don't hold back about stuff I don't like.
This is actually very true. I mean, we had some discussions. You're actually banned from certain brands to review, and
We are not banned. Let's say they don't want to see me doing the reviews, but actually, I still do them, because nobody has control over us. So that's pretty good. Some companies try to ban us when they said like, we don't send you any review units, but then again, we are linked to Thomann. We just order it from the store and review it anyways.
So that was quite interesting that we just that we had to focus on, because you have Thomann as your back. You got Thomann's back. It's actually quite funny, because then you don't have the pressure from the manufacturer. So Definitely. It's the other way around. Because you have Thomann, you got a little bit more freedom when it comes to the review part. That was quite interesting.
Yes, totally. And we are not dependent on ads that get sold. Like our reviews are not coupled to banners or something. The department that does like the banner, is totally independent. So yeah, and we take great care about this. So yeah, super happy to have Thomann in the background, to be honest with you.
Interesting. I really learned a lot through you about the industry. And if I look around at your studio, actually, I would say you are one of the guys that has an amazing collection of boutique gear. Not only boutique, but you have a lot of gear. And what is your decision-making process when it comes to your studio? Because I've seen on the left-hand side the new SSL console, which is a lot of fun and also very expensive. So why don't you go a little bit through your process of building a studio?
Yeah, somehow I didn't get the memo that plugins sound as good as hardware. So I totally went the different way, back in the days, the Chronic 2001, when you open up the CD case, and you take out the CD, you see Dre is sitting in front of a big SSL, like, smelling a big bag of weed, somehow that inspired me. I want the console, and from the beginning, always the name SSL popped out, and then I installed for a friend 948 and got more into consoles, and I really realized this is the best thing to go. And I was like hoping for 10 years to get one, and then through Corona, I made a decision and pulled the trigger and got the Origin. And so far, I pretty love it, because like the way I work, you might need to know that I had a SSL Matrix before, and this was like, a friend needed to get rid of it, so I bought it, I used it, it got me like into the thing. But I realized like some stuff I didn't like, some stuff I thought I might need, I didn't need in the end. And yeah, when I'm doing my work or mixing for other people, I'm stemming all the time. So basically, what I do, I use the console and I print stuff, and I lay out drums and bring them back in and have loops. And I definitely like to work. I think this way to work is much better. It's like you need to.
And when we met first week, I mean, I've been to your studio last weekend. When I was attending Superbooth, we could both agree that you might not like the sound of an SSL, but we can definitely agree that SSL has the best layout when it comes to a mixing console. It is just one of the fastest and most intuitive layouts out there.
Workflow stuff. Sometimes like how they use stuff in different ways. Like how you can choose if you use the cues for like cueing or if you need them like as an additional auxiliary and stuff like that. That's small parts you find out later. That's why they did it. That makes sense. Like even in the Matrix with two buses and stuff, it's pretty cool. The patch bay you had in there, like the bus routing in the Origin. I mean, like I have 8 stereo buses. Which console has 8 stereo buses? Like at this price range, there's nothing. Like the EQ sound great.
Yeah.
I don't need much more. Of course, yes. It's like in compressors totally, but I like tube compressors even more. So, or let's say I didn't even like the SSL compressors so much. So why should I have them if I don't use them? So this setup makes totally sense for me. Yeah.
Interesting. So you now have, I mean, look behind you. There's the Manly. There's the Tube Tech. There is obviously a beautiful Culture Vulture Super 15 down below, the red one.
Yes.
So you put them all together in an insert way, or what is your workflow with that?
Yeah, I just bought like the new Flock 96 Patch Bay XT, it's called. Um, so I have a lot of inserts from the console on the patch bay, and all the hardware is going into the patch bay, and I can easily configure my workflows. Um, I'm not 100% sure yet if I completely need to remodel everything every time I do a mix. So for now, I was like, let's see how many setups I actually need at the end. So I tend to always use the DCL compressors on the kick and the snare. I tend to use the Barrymore on the synth buses and stuff. The Tube Tech, for example, is always on the master bus, but you are a little bit flexible with it. You need to,
Two very nice Bricastis M7s.
2 Precastis, yes, with the remote. I just sold I had the normal version with the display before. I sold it and got the new version with the remote because they had like a kind of deal. When you buy 2 faceless Precastis, you get the remote on top for free.
And the remote is quite expensive.
The remote itself is quite expensive. I think like 2.5 grand something. Wow. So yeah, it was a good deal when you just buy the other ones. Because the funny thing is, what I was thinking, I need another hardware reverb, and I was.
Why?
Well, I needed more rooms, and
but
just
doesn't
like
do the plugin the job. I mean.
No, not. I mean, yes, sound-wise, they're very good plugins, but like with the workflow, I can't. When I'm mixing on the console or tracking, I can't go in the box and out. It just doesn't make sense with the latency, and then it just sounds odd. So I have to do it with hardware. And I was looking for another room. I had some weird other cheap reverbs or pedals integrated. Didn't do the trick for me. And then somehow I went into the rabbit hole and was looking for an old lexicon. And talked with some guys, does it make sense? Is it a lot of pain to restore it? And then I was thinking, like, why are you looking for this? The Precasti is awesome. Why not just get a second Precasti? And that's what I did, and I'm super happy, because it's the same menu. I know the programs. I can sometimes use the same program, just different values, room sizes. Makes totally sense for me.
And the interesting part is Precasti is engineered by former Lexicon engineers, so it's like you get the spirit behind Lexicon in Precasti.
Yes, I think it's more intuitive to program it yourself. It's I wouldn't call it that colored. It's much more cleaner and realistic. Even when they added in the version 2 update the modulation, it's not that obvious than with other reverbs. But I also got like a PCM 60 just for the mojo.
And the great thing is you're not like a snob. I mean, people will be a little bit overwhelmed now by your studio, but actually you have also some 1176 clones from Clark Technic, which cost like 179 euros, something like that. And you have them in your rack, and you used it on a production from me. So you mixed my last, we are still in the process of mixing my next EP. And just because, like I told in another stream, I wanted to have a second pair of ears that could just give me control and oversight. And you gave me a lot of feedback about my mixes. I mean, we did like 15 revisions of something But these clocks are actually quite fabulous for what they're doing. So why is it that you use the clock? Is it that you can put it on your desk solely, or is it also a sound thing, or what is it?
To be honest with you, I'm still figuring out which compressor sounds better on what, you know. But I found like that when I was doing like sending kick drums through it, you know, I was like, it's a cool sound, you know. It's obviously the Bluey from Blackline Audio sounds different, but I couldn't say which one is better or worse, you know. With vocals, it was a different thing. But on the other hand, you know, they are so cheap, you can easily buy two. And for a kick and a snare, man, it doesn't have to be like a 5,000 euro compressor always, you know.
Yeah.
Also, when you take another look, I also use the Midas rack for the transient designers. So I try it out. I use my ears, and then I make a decision. So I'm not, you know, I don't look for a brand sign or something. You know, I had expensive stuff everybody was raving about, and I sold it because I was like, nah, I don't know, doesn't do anything for me.
Sometimes wrong is right. I mean,
Yes.
that's the thing. Sometimes when you have a really shitty compressor, I mean, I think about the Elise's 3660 or 3690, I believe. That was like Daft Punk used that to death, and it costed like 80 euros or 120 euros from Elise's. Yeah, a little bit more. So it all comes down to the source material. But we can talk for hours, and I'm just always fascinated by your studio. But let's come a little bit to Superbooth 2022, because that's what we named the stream. We will probably talk about your workflow in later episodes, but Superbooth 2022, what was your first impression? What gave you I mean, for all of us, I can say it. It was a very positive experience in general. But what struck you the most about Superbooth this year?
I don't know when they start changing this. I think like the last Superbooth last year, I really liked that they moved out all the stuff to the tents. You know, so
yeah.
When you remember the last years, you know, when they concentrated everything in the entrance, you know, it was such a brain fuck with all the different sound sources. Yeah, so loud, so many stuff together. I really enjoyed that. So yeah, it's everything is more wider, more open. So it's a nice experience to go there now, and especially when you take like a look that Musikmesse is completely dead now. So I think like Superbooth is becoming more and more important. You know, you see like guys like SPL coming there with the outboard stuff. I really hope that, you know, other brands make the move and move the good stuff to the Superbooth. You know, like.
Oh, absolutely. Right. I mean, we met some interesting companies that were just visiting or attending Superbooth and didn't have a booth, but they were like, this is interesting. This could become something new for us. And now, especially with Superbooth also having a guitar area, it feels more like they're widening or opening up Superbooth for more than just synthesizers. So there's, I mean, we had companies there like Yamaha, like really big players. So it became quite interesting. The only thing I missed a little bit from this year's Superbooth was the main stage. I mean, we had this beautiful main stage with music in the last years, and this year there was a little bit less music, I feel. I don't know if you feel the same because of the different stages that they had in the background, but I got a strange feeling sometimes.
Did you? Yeah, I totally don't miss this, to be honest with you, because honestly, I always like, I mean, I'm going to Musikmesse since 10 or 12 years, you know. I never had the time to enjoy a band or something like, or sit there, you know. It's so overwhelming with all the stuff you want to try out. And you always have a list like, I want to see this, I want to try out that. And in the end, you go like, and you missed half of it. So I don't miss any bands. I mean, yeah. No, I wouldn't sit there, and when I'm outside, I'm totally happy if I don't have any noise around my ears. So, no, I'm not missing this.
But don't you think that might for normal guests, it is something that they enjoyed? I mean, we are. I mean,
we are not normal guests, I guess.
Yeah, we are there working our butts off for like 10 hours, 12 hours even. We are there from the beginning, from 9 to 10, or between 9 and 10. Then we are there until 20, and then we will still have people that want to talk to us about stuff. So we get out of there probably like late in the evening. So for us, it's a stressful show, but I guess for many people, it's like something to enjoy. But that's interesting that you say that. So we wanted to talk about a little bit about Superbooth this
But I'm
year.
still collecting T-shirts, you know.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
pens,
me too.
and yeah.
Yeah, that's still a thing. But I lost all my T-shirts this year. I only
Did
have the Urs Heckmann Diva shirt. Yeah.
I got the lovely Moog one.
Ah, damn. Been waiting for the Moog shirt for 2 years and I couldn't get a hold of it. That's okay. That's annoying.
But you know they have a flagship store now in Berlin.
Oh.
No? Did you miss that? They opened it like with the last Superbooth. Yeah, it's not fully, fully in operating mode now.
They opened the flag store, or like a Moog solely store in Berlin.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
In Neukölln. Forgot the street name, but I think like with Corona, it's like I know they don't sell stuff, but you can go there and you can try everything that's out there, and they use it for like announcements.
So what Electron did?
Yeah, something. Yeah, something like that. But honestly, I never have been to the Electron store.
Okay, then we go both to the Moog area and just drive them crazy.
Yeah.
I think we should talk about my Moog Voyager that I bought in the next episodes. But let's talk a little bit about the gear that we saw at the Superbooth. I mean, obviously, Superbooth last year was in September, so there's like 7 months between those. Not too much stuff. But what was something that you found interesting in terms of gear that was there?
Well, there was like definitely a funny coincidence because I bought an OBX A a few months ago, and then it had to go to the repair shop like for quite a long time.
Do you have it installed? Can we see it, or is it hidden behind the beautiful Schmidt synthesizer that you have next there? Jesus Christ! Yeah, wow, that's beautiful. Okay,
I can go full circle and watch all these synthesizers.
Ooh, hello, Summit and the Model D revision. Nice.
Yes,
I put you on full screen just for people to see that.
I can do it. Should I do it again?
Yeah. Just do it again.
See it like that. We start there with the Minimoog, Summit, Waldorf.
Yeah.
And
we're both a huge fan of the Waldorf M. That one.
Yes. OBXA. Kudos to Stefan Schmidt. No, Stefan Schmidt. Stefan Hübner. Yeah, good guy from Hamburg. I mean, Poly 6, Juno 6, MS-20. Yeah, and the Schmidt here in front. I'm getting to know it. So on the first day of Superbooth, the OBX arrived at my studio back, and I could play it for the first time, like properly.
What a coincidence!
Yeah, and they showed the new one. I was like, at the beginning, I was like, fuck. Now they have like a new one because I had plans as selling mine.
What?
But honestly, yes, it was. I thought about it because I played the Schmidt like last time, and I was like, man, this is like a big dream come true, and the OBX8 is kind of limited in the way it is. So I was like, maybe I sell the OBX8 and then I take the money and get the Schmidt synthesizer. But then I got it back from the repair shop and I was like, nah, I'm not gonna sell this one. Still OB8A. What's the proper name of it? I forgot it, unfortunately. The new Oberheim.
Yeah, probably something like that.
Oh,
we have a guest.
Oh.
Hello. It's in Russian. I can't. I won't say the name. But welcome. So yeah, that's so the OBXA, I guess it is now. I'll double check that. And you were in the midst of like buying it, or you were keen on buying it, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to get one to play it for Bonedo, definitely, and for sure we'll make a comparison.
So it's called the OBX8.
OBX8, man, so many complicated names. It's like the monotypes of BMWs. Nobody can understand.
and it
anymore.
will cost like 5,000, five and a half, €5,500. Wow.
Yeah, what? How much is the new Prophet that's in the wood?
The Prophet 5 was like 339.
Very
That was
nice.
like 39, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, let's see. I don't want to talk too much about the price, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
It
agreed,
really
agreed.
depends when you take a look on it.
Yeah,
Uh,
agreed.
so it, you can't judge. It depends how they build it, how many they build of them. People. That's a thing I learned about. You can't compare synths that say like in the 10,000s with something that might say 1,000 or whatever. And this is definitely makes a difference in the price you can achieve at the end. So I don't think it's just a hype or a name or something like some people talk in the forums already. We have to see what it sound-wise brings. I played it there and it reminded me definitely of my synthesizer. Um, I honestly can't tell if it's that fat, but you're there at the Superbooth with headphones and people around you. It's a tough way to tell if something
Oh no,
sounds.
we both agreed that we never we are in the luxurious position not to be forced to test it out. So we just don't, and just go for once we're back home, we just will try it out because we know the companies and they're very generous in lending us a unit, and then we'll try it out. And I think that's the only and proper way to try out a synth, because you're stressed. There are so many people around you. You can do like the normal filter sweeps, and then and that's it. And then the next one comes behind you and wants to try it out, and yeah, that's not too cool. I guess so.
So it's the only way to cope with this addiction. I think how to get like we
Exactly.
have.
But
Um,
like everyone, we can cope with we are not addicted. We just
yeah, totally not. No, sure. You
so
can you can also.
yeah. So I just for guys that want to know it, this is the new Oberheim OBX8. Yeah, and we were a little bit unsure about the gray tone a little bit. At least I was. You were too, but the woodwork on the side panels was lovely, and also I really enjoyed the double part modulation wheel thingy that was there. That's interesting. So we will try it out and see if the sound is great. But yeah, yeah, definitely a highlight, and I think everyone couldn't agree more. I mean, it's a great story to have Oberheim back after all those years, and Tom Oberheim now he's like over 80 and just is now getting his name back and is able to yeah, produce really great instruments again, hopefully. Um, so that's really cool. Yeah, that's one of the main highlights for us. I think one of the highlights I have to talk about, and it's not a highlight that it's a new stuff, but it's for me really interesting, and that was when were both at the Native Instruments booth
Yes.
and talked about the thing that you have in your back, and that is the Maschine Plus. And there has been some rumors about Maschine Plus not getting the attention and the love that many of us would like to see, because Native Instruments now is part of Soundwind, and they will go a completely different direction. But what it's actually was interesting for us is that we met the product manager Boris from Native, and he told us, no, this is actually now a new liftoff for Maschine Plus, and with the newly released 1.4, we both found that this might be a really great opportunity for Native Instruments. right?
Yeah, definitely, definitely. They didn't take care much in the last years when it came out,
Yeah.
right? So we are definitely looking forward to this. I mean, the thing is cool. I started using it. You know, I was never a Maschine fan when it was bound to the computer before, but with the Plus version, I started using it. And I told you, it's the only sequencer I use in the studio at the moment. So all the synths you have seen are connected to the Maschine Plus, and nothing is connected to the PC or to the Mac at the moment. So all the sequencing is done there, and it's basically my patch bay for MIDI.
Oh, interesting. So you hook it up via USB and then just probably to a MIDI out, and then you connect it to all your MIDI gear, or what's the setup like?
Yes, it's one USB MIDI interface with 8 outs, so all the synthesizers are connected.
Mm-hmm.
And I use the Acme 4 for the drum machines. So the machine is only playing one sample. So I'm using no internal sound sources of the machine. So it's only MIDI. And this one audio sample I used to trigger the Acme,
Ah,
which
so this is
that,
the pulse, the square wave that you use
yeah,
for
square wave.
targeting it.
Yes.
Okay.
So the drum machines are synced to the through the Acme, and I use the drum sequencers of all the drum machines, the internal ones. Works best for me.
Oh, interesting. I mean, for me, it was interesting to see that Machina will now uh, be part of a bigger strategy, and I really think that the whole Machina concept has potential now, because actually what I found was that you are so distracted by the whole sounds, by the libraries of native instruments. So if you're on your computer and you open it up and you start to use all the sounds and the expansions, you're overwhelmed. It's way too much to start
Yeah,
anything. And to have this like system bound, not bound to the computer, as you say, and just in a standalone fashion, you still can get the sound packs, which is amazing. I mean, it works like a breeze. I mean, you just have to you can use a QR code, log into your native ID, and then you start to download your expansions via Wi-Fi to your Maschine Plus. You can do that, and it's really cool. And I think it's interesting that they don't use anything like a touchscreen. They just stick to hardware and they stick to knobs, and they want to do it that way, not like a Kai. And that's cool. That's really cool. And I have a huge wish list for Maschine Plus, and hopefully they will start to implement some of these things. But definitely, Maschine Plus is alive and kicking, and I'm really looking forward to what will come, especially with maybe a bigger one, right? Twinkle
yeah.
twinkle.
Twinkle Twinkle. Yeah, I don't know. I was just thinking like with the alliance with Plugin Alliance, and all the fancy plugins they made. I was just thinking like, does Machine have the capability of power? Like
Mm.
CPU wise and stuff. But yeah, that would be nice when you can use stuff like that, because at the moment it's kind of limited what they offer. Of course, you got all the synthesizers, but you can't edit them properly. So
Yeah, it's only macro controls really, and these very
yeah,
tedious ways of going through all those pages, which is annoying.
yeah, it definitely is. It definitely is, and that's why I wasn't a fan at the beginning. But then I thought like, hey, I can use it as a MIDI sequencer, because I was always thinking doing it with the Akai MPC.
Mm.
I got like so many different versions, just to try it, but it didn't work for me. I never used the MPC like traditionally. I never came from there. I have friends that were using a MPC when they started doing music, and they still think like it's pretty cool. But I started with Reason, then I switched to Ableton pretty easily. And when you experience that kind of luxury with the software, it just feels like it's way too many steps back when you use hardware like this.
Yeah,
So
I'm a huge fan of the MPC 4000. Still have one and still use it. Um, and the 3000 is also amazing just because of what it can give you as a flexible tool. But the newer MPCs, I had the MPC X, and I really like the idea and the concept behind it, but it's not MIDI syncable. It's pretty shocking when I found out that now I have a multi-clock, so I can do the same thing that you do with your Acme. I can
Oh,
clock to audio, and I clocked every unit to audio, and the MPCX had problems clocking tight, it wasn't clocking tight. It was always moving around the center, so it was just always a little bit before or behind the clock. Um, and
yeah, horrible, horrible.
yeah, and that was instantly a deal breaker for me. As much as I loved the MPCX, and just it was tight now, so it's tight now when you send out MIDI out, but you have to clock it sometimes too. Your DAW to your sequencer to another sequencer. You can't do this. Maschine Plus had also that problem, but it wasn't as apparent as with the MPCX. It was it was either completely not working, or it was working better than MPCX.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I never went that far, because I used the NPCs and was like, man, I can't cope with this workflow. It just did my brain freeze when I was doing it. I tried it so many times. I got like even an NPC 2000 from a friend, and I was like,
Mm,
I don't get it. It's just like the stopping, doing stuff. It just didn't work for me.
okay.
So Machine definitely a big step up. So I hope they do more.
Yeah. I mean,
Better interfaces.
what was so revolutionary about the MPC series was the 16 velocity, the 16. What was it called? Now I got it. 16 notes. I have to check that. Wow, I'm really embarrassing myself now. That you had the option to put a sample across the 16 pads and tune it, and that was one of the main things why it was so popular back then. And Maschine did it right, to be able to have a sound on Maschine and just use it polyphony. There is not this differentiation between a key group and a drum program. It's just a sound, and you can play it polyphonically. So that's it. And that was giving me the exact feeling. I can understand it with the NPCs, with the older ones, with the legendary ones, but not with the newer one. And it felt a step backward when I tried out MPCX with that differentiation between key group and drum program, and then just like, okay, bam, that's it. So yeah, Maschine gives me that, and it's amazing. So yeah, Maschine Plus. That's something we both have, and we will both continue to work on and work with. Um,
Yeah.
so, what was your next highlight from Superbooth?
Highlight. Let me think. Let me think. I really like the Eventide sequencer.
Ooh,
The
yeah,
mission. That was something that was interesting, definitely, with the sequencer. You have seen in my studio, I'm not a big fan of modular, to be honest, or I didn't try as much stuff that kind of, has drawn me into it. But this was something like I thought, like, yeah, that looks cool. Um, Also some reverb. I forgot the name about it. Like it's damn. We have to check through the GNU site. I forgot the name. That looked interesting. Um, I also really like the motor bass synth. That looks kind of funky with the rotating um, pieces. I think they used drone motors,
yeah,
motors from
yeah,
drones,
something like that.
generate the sounds from this. Sounded pretty cool. Um, yeah, but I tried it myself, but it was too much. Like I went there very late, so my brain was not able to get into this too much. So I was more looking the demo the guy gave at the booth. But yeah, the sound was pretty raw, rough, interesting, definitely.
Yeah, just got a picture of the Misha. That's what it calls like. That's what it called. It's the Misha sequencer.
Yes,
Pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. Let's talk about this. I just bring it up to the front.
yeah,
So
as much.
that's it. Mm. Yeah, yeah. 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 A pretty cool concept. I really like the Eventide concept as a general. I really like what Eventide is doing. Their modules are cool. The H9 Max and all those units are really cool stuff. Also, the H9000, which I have, is amazing. Um,
Oh, you have it too?
yeah. I love it. It's one of the best hardware pieces out there. If it only would have better setup time and stuff like that, but in terms of like sound and flexibility and connectivity, it's absolutely amazing. And the H9, I think, is great for live. I think I should get one once I start to play live again, or not again for the first time really, because my older sets were all like DJ combined with some drum machines. That's not really playing live. But yeah, that's something I would like to try out in the future. I really enjoy that.
I didn't know. Did you talk to the Eventide guys? Because I asked them about the H9000, and they said there's a big update coming.
Ooh, interesting. Never
Yes,
heard.
half year or something. Yeah, yeah. Because I asked him about some stuff because my good friend Nima is using one, and he's like a totally obsessed with this machine. It's
Oh yeah,
like kind of you. You met him too, but I was always looking at it and I was like, Jesus Christ, too many knobs for me. And some limitations. We did the review, and I don't know, ADAT not working with 96 kilohertz or something, or the
yeah,
A something like that. I thought like that's a little bit lame, with a big name like this, Eventide H9000, H8000. It was a weapon. So yeah, and they kind of said something like, when we're gonna bring like an update, it's gonna be big. We don't do the small steps in between. And they had something in pipeline. They told me.
ooh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Can't wait to try that out. Um, yeah, that sounds absolutely great. The next thing is we both. No, you have been there, and I just got a little look of it. Is the Teenage Engineering OP1 Field, and that
Yes.
stirred up some. Can we say drama, or what was it exactly?
Well, the price. I
Yeah,
think it started with the price. Um, Damn it, I get calls all the
you're
time.
such an important person, man.
Yeah, it's horrible. It's horrible. Um, yeah, I went there. I have some friends that really loved it, the early versions, and were raving about it. I tried it several times. I think it's a pretty cool toy. It's capable of. It can sound pretty good. For me, it's too much in a little box. I honestly didn't get what was that new, compared to the old one. I mean, I think it's much more synthesizers and different programs and like that, but it's nothing for me. I tried to do a video, but I had to skip it because the screen was too dark. And
Yeah,
funnily, I was thinking like, man, they make something for out, that you can take it out. And they were sitting in an tent, and I had problems reading the display just sitting there. And it was as bright as possible. So, and the camera didn't pick up anything. So I was like, oh, yeah, okay, that's useless. I can't use that. But I had even problems reading it myself. And I was like, I don't know, for a company that, you know, has design or engineering so big written, I didn't get it. Even with the power switch on the side, I flipped the machine 3 times off, and man, that for 2,000 euros, I didn't get it,
and
honestly.
what was your impression of the build quality?
Build quality was stunning. It was super solid. The knobs were good. Um,
Oh yeah, yeah, that's cool. Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. I mean, we will have to see if the pricing will maintain the will be that, because actually a lot of commentators were angry because OP1 itself stated that nobody should pay that much for an original OP1, like 1 or 2 years ago when the OP1 was just like really hyped on eBay, and people just paying like 3,000, no, 1,300, 1,400, 1,500 euros for it. And now with the OP1 Field, it's like 1999. So it feels a little bit strange, but maybe it's worth the price. Maybe it does something that is so cool that you can't live without it. We'll have to see. I mean, I love the design philosophy behind it. It looks stunning. Maybe, I mean, the display. Maybe they will build in a newer and bigger one, or not a bigger one, but a brighter one. We'll have to see. All that, yeah. That's pretty darn good.
Wouldn't be too judgmental
Yeah.
with this. Prices have gone up. I think they is it made in Sweden or
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know. I don't know.
pretty sure. I'm pretty sure they don't produce in China or something.
But
I
I
mean,
know the
the part.
aluminum casing is pretty expensive nowadays.
Yeah,
It's not for the faint of heart. It's really expensive. I know many companies that have problems now with aluminum. So maybe it's that, or there's something that we don't know. Yeah,
also like development time. I mean, there goes like definitely they need more engineers for the software than like a normal synthesizer. Whatever Arturia or Akai puts out. So they have to finance this. So you can't like, in my opinion, take something like this and reduce it to the materials used. So, and if they keep doing stuff like this and with the software development, I think that the price is okay.
okay,
I
interesting. So
Yeah.
you're the first one to say it that way. Um, uh,
Yeah, but again, you can't compare stuff like with, I don't know, Behringer putting out 100,000
oh no,
copies
you
of
can't.
something.
No, that's
It's just not possible. I mean, I try to build my own stuff, like just like a little rotary mixer, and you just see like, how the price scale. If you order like one or two pieces, it's incredibly expensive. When you go for 10 or 100, it's cheaper, and then when you buy like 10,000, the prices go down so much. So yes, this is something you have to take in
oh,
consideration.
absolutely, absolutely. But that is something that we mm, often forgot. We forget about something that is just, we just want to have always the greatest and latest gear, but we don't want to pay for
Yeah,
it. And now that I'm in the industry and I see what we have to go through in order to make it work, especially with components now that just double, not double, they quadrupled, or even worse, like 100 times the price that it was 2 years
yeah,
before. It is hard to build equipment right now. So for us, it's really a management act to get everything running.
yeah. And you have to, like most companies calculate like production cost multiply by 5. So you get like a rough street price, something. So when you take this into consideration for the teenage engineering, like the building cost is might be 400 euros or something for the unit, and I think that fits at the end if you bring it down to
Yeah.
this. I don't know. Maybe they calculate with a different ratio or so. I'm pretty sure Behringer calculates not with multiplied 5. Um, they sell so cheap.
Maybe they do. We
I
don't know.
I can't hate Behringer. I can't hate Behringer because I'm looking at this and I think like fucking incredible what he's doing for this amount of money. I mean, like synthesizers 90 euros or
Yeah,
something.
and he's actually
This quality
building
is
what people
good.
were asking for, right? So
Yeah. So I don't hate. I don't do any karma discussions anymore. Super funny. Anyhow, have like this switch over the years. I remember when the book came out, like the Minimoog clone, like everyone, this is bad. And what happened? Minimoog prices went up, not down. So there's a fair share for everyone in the market. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
So
And at the end of the day, it comes. We often forget that we should make music, right?
yeah,
That's the big
yeah, and
part. You can have.
also if you can afford like a soya latte for 10 euros in Mitte, you can afford teenage engineering to play your music along,
You think so?
right?
Yeah. That's the equation.
That's the picture I'm making up in my
Yeah,
brain.
probably
You
right.
sit there
Probably right.
with your, I don't know, vegan schnitzel and play some music.
Yeah.
With the cow, there's this cow in the teenage engineering
Yeah.
thing. Like, I don't know if it's in the new one, but you have like a little cow that's animated and makes some sound. You put something in there, something. Isn't it
Maybe
like
it's
this?
maybe the OP1 now is vegan, so you don't have any cows. So it's like maybe a lettuce or something. Yeah, but
Or an air
oh
synth
yeah.
doing photosynthesis or something. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's always the discussion. I mean, we both know that we are crazy when it comes to hardware. We buy a lot of expensive stuff sometimes, and we still love it. We still do it, but I mean, we both have a rule now to use it also in our productions, which
Yeah.
now is a big part because I really have to use it. Jesus Christ! I just bought a Moog Voyager the other day. Just I don't know. I had to get one. Okay, I had to get one. It was like everyone was shitting on the Voyager, and I know you're not a fan of that too that much, but I will find it out. I will find it out. We will use it, and then we'll see. I mean, that's the thing. Just make music with it.
Everyone needs a Moog,
Everyone
definitely.
needs a Moog, yeah.
So I've chosen the Minimoog. I wasn't a big fan of the new stuff they made. I, I mean, I never gave it. Honestly, I never gave it a real chance. To with the new synths, like all this modular thing, man. I hate cables.
you
It's just like
definitely have the wrong hobby if you don't like cables, man.
I I like cables when you can't see them. You have the wrong perspective for the drum machines. There needs to be some optimization. But man, all my racks are clean. There's no. You've
Yeah,
seen
yeah,
it.
yeah.
I take
You're quite
and
German about
like
this.
having that over my fingers, man, horrible, horrible. That's why I like the Schmidt synthesizer so much. It's like modular but without the pain and with recall. Um, yeah, so I don't know. I'm not into this, but the Voyager, man, you can recall it,
You
right?
can recall it, you can program it, and it's an interesting concept. It's a Voyager. Sorry, it's a Minimoog Model D with just a lot of great features. And I know that I know Rudi Linhardt, the guy that helped Bob Moog to build it, and he told me about a modification that you can do so you get the buzziness back, which is called the Slew Rate Mod. So I probably will do that, and then you will get the buzziness from the Model D. Plus, I like the filter idea, man. Just to have a spacing knob that you can use to have a stereo filter, a real stereo filter. Um, why wouldn't it be great? And I know so many people that use it. I mean, I'm a huge fan of Martin Budrich. He has one. Matthias Tanzmann has one. They all use it, and I love their bass lines. And I know for a fact that they are using the bass line. That the bass lines come out of the SH101 or the Voyager. So we'll try out the Voyager.
Yeah, it's a good synthesizer. I just heard weird stories about stepping when you modulate it through MIDI, but honestly, I never tried it
Okay,
myself.
then we will do some
So
heavy
that's your
testing.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, we will do some heavy testing for sure.
And modding,
And modding
you
and
know,
modding, like we
modding, spending more money on something that's already expensive when you buy it
yeah.
used. Makes totally sense. Makes totally sense.
Yeah, but that's how we roll, right? That's how we roll.
Yeah, why buy something with warranty? You know,
Yeah,
this is
warranty is
there's
boring.
no gambling. Yeah,
Warranty is for people that are, yeah,
overrated,
it's for people
overrated.
that
You
are
know,
fear, are in fear. No, don't get the warranty. So, I mean, is it that for us? This, I mean, we are already talking for over an hour. Yeah,
did
yeah,
we,
yeah, yeah.
man? Time.
Now we're close to an hour. Close to an hour. Time flies when you have
Yeah,
fun.
that's true. I mean, I feel a little bit sorry for Superbooth, you know, being originally like a modular synthesizer thing, and us not much talking about modular stuff. But hey, I think it's great for them that they open up,
Yeah,
you know, at the end, and more stuff is coming, and the venue is great. You know, it just feels nice, you know, with all the tents, how they do it, and there's so much more space, you know, for outboard. You know, they can leave all the pianos out there, and honestly, I don't need to see guitars there, but I'm definitely looking forward what they're doing with the thing. You know, it's,
especially now that Musikmesse in Germany completely is, yeah, it's, yeah,
rest in peace, music.
it's irrelevant, and that breaks my heart because Musikmesse was something that I was looking up for when I was younger, and you too, and we were both like, we were socialized by Musikmesse, and to
That's true.
see Musikmesse going that south is pretty painful. But I mean, that's how it goes sometimes. Then new stuff comes up, and maybe Superbooth will be the next big thing, and will be the main trade show, and we will see that. Oh,
I hope.
we have one unit that we need to talk about. We forgot
Hmm.
the Syntact Electron.
Yes, I played it, but just a few seconds. You know, I had to rush over, but I'm waiting for a demo
Oh,
unit.
me too. Me too. Yeah, that's something that is interesting. And why was it interesting for you? I tell you why I loved it.
I can tell you first because I was a big fan of the machine drum. I had
Yeah,
one. Um, I really loved it. I didn't like the sound so much. You know, you had to you had to tweak it a lot. That it sounds cool on its
yeah.
own, which brings us back to the topic of the beginning of our little show. Because then I found out you just need outboard.
Yeah,
You know, and
absolutely.
sounds ridiculous, but when you put the machine drum into a massive passive from Manley, man, the sun comes up. You know, this
Oh,
is what you
absolutely.
want.
This is something I tell a
So
lot of people right now in the industry.
uh,
If they constantly are changing instruments, I tell them, hey, buy outboard gear. Just put
yeah,
something behind the gear. And that's so true. And people just overlook that fact for so many reasons. It's absolutely crazy. If you really like the dry sound of something, man, send it to something that has balls. For me, it's the Phoenix valve compressor. That is just
mm,
amazing when you drive it and it's and compress it. It works like a breeze on so many different sources. And the massive passive, man, stop talking about it. Really, it will get expensive on eBay, and I have to get one as well. So, no more about the massive passive.
right version with a better power
Oh
supply.
yeah, that's also important. Yeah, yeah. So the Syntact was crazy for me because I talked to Thomas, the one of the developers, and what they did is something quite clever. It's also something that you also see with the world of Quantum, is what they have is some analog engines and some digital engines, and the master effects on the Syntact are actually analog. So the master filter is analog, the master compressor is analog, and also the EQ is analog. Yeah,
Is it
yeah,
really cute?
at least that's what I understood. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But at least the filter and the EQ, sorry, the filter and the compressor, they are analog. So what this means is they have a lot of decks, digital to analog converters that go through different engines, go back, and you have to do a lot of routing internally that is quite complex. And I love that idea that you have this like organic machine that just goes through many decks. Because what I find is that once you go out of something, so send something digital to have it to some voltage, you will have something more interesting. I can't stand drums in the box anymore. I just needed to send it out to make it interesting. I don't know how you feel about it, but that could be like something really cool with a Syntact.
You have to try it out. The thing is with Electron, for me, I started with a machine drum. I really loved it. I still think like the jog wheel idea with the 16
Oh yeah,
instrument was genius.
yeah, that was
I honestly don't get why they got
yeah,
rid of it. And all the machines after that, for me personally, got too complicated.
really.
It was too much. Yeah. I no, it was too complicated. Displays got smaller, so I tried several of them, but I I didn't stick with them. And at the end, the coolest Electron used machines to me were the model samples and
Oh
model
really?
cycles. Yeah, because they were easy to use, and they had like knobs out and not like 20 million sub pages and stuff. So
Oh, that was so
I don't
frustrating with the
and
rhythm. I remember the rhythm just having those like really frustrating thing that you had the pads and then you needed to do the track select in order to select the pad and to sequence it. That was
yeah.
absolutely annoying. Oh,
Also, I hate to break it down, but even the first Electron synths being like analog didn't do the trick for me. It was just like, yeah, this is analog, but it doesn't sound that fat. You know.
yeah, I
I
get
I
it.
was
The
never a
Phone
fan of.
was a one-trick pony for me. Just a
Yeah.
lot of
So it was
crazy
like,
pads and
what's the point of this?
yeah.
And you see, I used the Roland Tier 8S, two of them. Um, Man, they are outstanding, and they're completely digital. So this is one of the devices where I think like, yeah, there is no discussion if analog or digital is better. With the drums. Um, yeah, I need synthesizers for drums. I don't use samples, so the whole layering idea never worked for
Oh,
me.
interesting.
I didn't get the concept, so I never used drum samples. Even the same with Maschine. So when you were talking about all this weird MPC stuff, what you can do, it was just like, yeah, never did it, never had the feel for it doing it. I I I only built once in my life, like from a MFB drum machine, a little Ableton instrument, and I chopped all the samples once in my life. Never did it again.
Okay.
That was it. So yeah, this whole hybrid concept. I don't know if it's done clever, or maybe samples you use for the attack phase. That makes sense if you combine it.
I don't think you can use samples. From the at
Ah,
this
okay.
point, it's only synthesis digitally and synthesis analogly. It's analog
Yeah.
synthesis and digital synthesis, which makes sense. I think for what you get, the price point is crazy low because I know what decks sound cost like and ADCs cost like at the moment. So I think
Yeah.
they told me that they had to do some heavy stuff to make it under 1,000 euros, even if it's like €1 below 1,000 euros. So that's cool. And we will test that out, and yeah, let's do that in the future.
I definitely like the Digitact style, how you could use it. The small box. It
Yeah,
just made sense to me.
and it
It.
sounds great.
Yeah,
The pitching on the Digitact
but
is fucking amazing.
yeah, but it had its own
Yeah,
sound. It was like a cold Nordish digital
yeah.
world. It was nice, but I didn't need it for my sounds. It was. I mean, yeah, I wanted to keep it, but in the end, the Waldorf M gets me more of this and even more to this
Mm.
aesthetic kind of harsh digital. So let's see. Yeah, when I get it, I definitely will play around with it, and I'm pretty sure I will do the review for Bonedo.
That's cool. That's
So yeah,
cool.
looking forward.
Gonna read it and gonna check it out, and maybe we're gonna do some playing together. We maybe we just meet in some of our studios and just try it out. I
Online.
mean, why not? Just play around with it and do some live streams or just some videos. Why not?
Sure.
So, Felix, thanks for taking your time. I really appreciate it. It was
Pleasure.
a really cool episode. I really enjoyed talking to you, and would like to see you soon again.
Yeah, me too. Let's redo this.
All right. Okay, people. Thank you so much for being part of this. You can rewatch the episode. We had some visitors. I know it's a strange time for live stream, but we wanted to do something about Superbooth, and now I will do it more frequently again. I have some great guests coming. Felix will come back. Maybe we do some Q&A sessions in the future. You probably will, yeah, we'll be able to see one of my mixes that Felix has done in the future. Some pretty cool things coming up. So Felix, you want to talk about maybe your channel, because we will do some German channel
Yeah.
stuff as well together.
Yes, I just recently started my YouTube channel. So it's growing slowly, but it's some technical stuff. Yeah, I do besides Bonedo. So I did a nice comparison of the new Mac Ultra and Mac Studio Ultra M1 processors, like a benchmark test with Ableton. So that's pretty good to see, or you learn something. You know how much you can do with the machines, with the different power and how much you have to pay for it. I also did a video like about my power management in the studio. So yeah, it's gonna be like more DIY stuff, building stuff, doing something with wood. Um, Maybe even reviewing gear, but I will focus mainly on old stuff. You know, stuff you can find on eBay, not all the fancy, expensive stuff that's coming out newly, because I'm doing this for Bonedo, so I don't see the need to do something relevant there. So yeah, but check my channel out.
Oh, we will definitely do so. You have some great audio demos also done for the SSL Bus Plus. So we're definitely gonna do that. All right.
Yeah, but the Bonedo
Oh
channel,
yeah,
right?
sorry, that's the Bonito channel. But you,
But check out the Bonedo
yeah.
channel as well.
So thank you so much for coming, and I see you all, and hopefully you again.